Towards Europe or towards the Great Deception? When the dream of European Union integration reveals itself as a cynical facade of historical injustices. From a distance, the European Union appears as a shining city on a hill, built on great ideals. Freedom, justice, equality, respect for human rights, care for the weak, for those historically oppressed by war and occupation. But as you come closer, when you look with your own eyes and not through the lenses of propaganda, you realize that what is portrayed as the torch of Western values is nothing more than a hypocritical facade, which, from time to time, peels away to reveal its true face. A system of elites trading justice, applying double standards, humbling the weak and pampering the powerful. European Union, our road to Europe. A blind journey towards betrayal? For more than 2 decades, Albanians in both Albania and Kosovo have grown up with the belief that the future lies in Brussels, that the building of the state, rule of law, economy, and a good life depends on integration into the European Union. This dream has been served as a magical solution for all our wounds. Poverty, lack of justice, lack of hope. But are we sure this is the right path? Isn't it wise, before talking about the future, to look back a little? Because our history, not the distant one, but the living and unforgettable one, speaks of deep injustices committed against us, injustices that Europe has witnessed and remained silent about. Let's remember just a few. Round Pushpin Kamiria, a forgotten genocide blessed by the West. The Cham people, massacred, expelled, and forcibly removed from their lands at the end of World War II, remain an open wound in the Albanian national identity. Most were ethnic Albanians with Greek citizenship, but that did not save them from ethnic cleansing. Has the EU ever demanded justice for this crime? Has this issue ever been placed on the tables of Western diplomats? No, because Greece is a member state, and justice within the EU has boundaries, the boundaries of political interest. Round Pushpin, the gifted lands, a fragmented and silenced nation. Albanian territories have been divided, traded, and divided again at diplomatic tables, without our participation. Serbia was given our lands in eastern Kosovo. North Macedonia received Albanian territories without offering constitutional state-forming rights to Albanians. Montenegro was gifted Albanian lands in Plav and Guzinj. Greece, as mentioned above, carried out an ethnic cleansing that Europe now cynically calls a closed case. And all of them are strategic friends of the European Union. So can a union that refuses to recognize injustice against you ever be the guarantor of justice for you? Globe showing Europe, Africa, Europe in the face of genocide around the world. Silence kills. We don't need to dig far into the past. Just look at what is happening today. Palestine, where civilians are being killed, children are burned alive under bombs, and Europe speaks of Israel's right to self-defense. Congo, where more than 10 million people have been killed so that lithium and other minerals can be extracted to power Western tech industries. Sudan, Yemen, Haiti, where civil wars and humanitarian crises unfold under the quiet blessing of the West, which is more concerned with oil contracts than with human life. Why don't EU leaders speak out about these tragedies with the same harsh tone they use for norm violations in the Balkans? Because geopolitical interests are more valuable than human lives. Because their democracy has a price, and not everyone can afford it. Handshake double standards as a system, privilege for the powerful, judgment for the weak. Albanians ask for international justice, but the justice that the EU offers is selective. One language for the weak, another for the allies. One standard for Serbia, which has never apologized for its crimes in Kosovo, and another for Kosovo, which is expected to bow and compromise, so as not to upset its neighbors. One standard for Greece, which denies the genocide in Kamiria, and another for Albania, which must remain silent so as not to jeopardize integration. This is the Europe we are being invited to join. A political and economic union, but not a moral one. An elite structure that protects only its interests, where justice is a privilege, not a right. Stop sign, is it worth walking towards this Europe? At the end of the day, the question we must ask is not, when will we enter the EU? But rather, what are we willing to sacrifice to enter? Will we remain silent about Kamiria? Will we offer Kosovo on the altar of dialogue as a token of goodwill? Will we stop speaking about ongoing genocides just to avoid upsetting Brussels? If yes, then we are not moving toward a union of values, but toward a filthy compromise, where our national pride, our rights, and our history are the price of entry. Speaking head, as George Fichte once said, "Oh, Europe, you whore of the ages." Harsh words, but today more relevant than ever. Because this Europe is no longer the torchbearer of justice. It is the torchbearer of double standards. A flag that does not fly for us. A club where justice is only for the wealthy and powerful. So, Albanians, do not ask whether we are walking towards Europe. Ask whether we are walking towards true justice. Because if this road demands that we deny our history, silence our pain, and erase our dignity, then it is not a road, but a humiliation.